with the celebration of Kimmel Orchard's 100 years is a fantastic moment because it reflects the modest beginnings and the sheer hard work of Mr. and Mrs. Kimmel and everyone else involved.
It's nostalgia. A lot of people that lived here have grown up with the orchards.
The legacy that they're leaving behind is their continued contribution to agriculture research. They also include art, humanities, and partnership with the University of Nebraska is just awesome.
They learn a little something about growing apples.
It really is mind-boggling, all of the different things we have been able to do with the generosity of Mr. and Mrs. Kimmel.
The fact that it has been here for 100 years is really just amazing.
Kimmel's had this wonderful, rich history, and I'm also looking forward to the future.
Hi, I'm Lynn Wyneth. I'm president of Kimmel Orchard and Vineyard Educational Foundation, Inc., which owns and operates Kimmel Orchard and Vineyard outside of Nebraska City. My history with Kimmel Orchard goes back to my childhood. My father was very close to Mr. and Mrs. Kimmel, and so we would visit the orchard when we were younger. But my real involvement started in 1999 when the Kimmel Charitable Foundation, which was founded by Richard and Lorene Kimmel, purchased the orchard. And so my involvement has really grown in the last 25 years, from kind of an oversight to more hands-on involvement with the orchard. Kimmel Orchard and Vineyard was founded by Richard Kimmel. He purchased the land back in 1925 and started the orchard at that time. Him and his wife, Lorene Kimmel, owned the orchard until 1967. At that time, they had sold it to their manager, Bill Oberdick. Bill owned it for several years until he sold it to his daughter and son-in-law, Ricky and Dan Gittinger. And then the Gittingers sold the orchard in 1999 to the Kimmel Charitable Foundation, which is a nonprofit charitable organization created by Richard and Lorene Kimmel at their passing. And so at that time then the orchard became a nonprofit organization on its own. It was owned by the foundation from 1999 until 2011. During that time, it was actually operated by National Arbor Day Foundation. And then in 2012, the Charitable Foundation decided to spin it off into its own separate 501c3 organization. So since 2012, Kimmel Orchard has been owned and operated by the Kimmel Orchard and Vineyard Educational Foundation.
My name is Ricky Gittinger. I was born and raised here at Kimmel Orchard. I'm the daughter of William Oberdick.
Hi, and my name's Dan Gittinger. In 1975, I worked for Mr. Oberdick, selling apples here at the orchard for the first time. We were married in December of 1976.
My family became acquainted with the Kimmels. My dad was a prisoner of war during World War II. He was a German soldier. And as a prisoner in the United States, they needed help at the farms. And during that time, he worked for Mr. and Mrs. Kimmel as a prisoner. And he enjoyed the work, and he became very fond of Mr. and Mrs. Kimmel. And after the war, all the soldiers were sent back home, but they kept in contact. And then later, Mr. and Mrs. Kimmel sponsored my dad and my mother and my older sister to come to the United States and work for the Kimmels.
Kimmel Orchard means an awful lot to us because basically at least our oldest kids grew up in the orchard. When we were here working, I started in 1975, full-time kind of in 1977, and then we were here until around 2001. But our kids grew up in the orchard. They grew up in the sales building, helping mom and dad. We were able to teach our kids, how to be good people and how to have a good life.
Kimmel Orchard to me is home. I still live right on the border of the orchard. I see the workers drive by with the tractors, and I see the tours of all the kids on the hay rack rides and the pick your own. It's still a lot of fun. It's just home. Think of the orchard and it's home for me.
My name is Sally Beneke. Well, I've been visiting Kimmel Orchard since I was about 3, when my parents purchased the farm. And we just had a very good neighbor connection. Well, it wasn't just Kimmel Orchard, it was Mr. Kimmel himself when my parents purchased the farm. It was all kind of a new thing for all of us. We moved from another small town in Nebraska. And Mr. Kimmel was just, he extended his hand. I don't know if I recognized it then because I was younger, but he was actually a very important person, and yet he seemed so humble and the most unpretentious person I think I've ever met, and was always willing to help his neighbors or his community. And I think that he continued that, and that's how this wonderful foundation came to be.
My name is Pat Holmes, and I am on the Kimmel Foundation board. Mrs. Kimmel asked me to serve on the board about 35 or so years ago, and I'm the last one of the original board members. I'd say probably 40, 50 years ago was when I first started coming to the orchard, and at that time it was more of a open fruit stand than the beautiful building that we have now for the orchard. With Kimmel Orchard turning 100 this year, I feel honored to be a part of helping the community learn about what has gone on at the orchard over all those years with what Mr. and Mrs. Kimmel began.
Hi, my name's Ben Wyneth, and I am on the board of directors for Kimmel Orchard. I first started coming to the orchard with my family. Our grandfather would bring us down. I can just always remember coming down to the orchard to pick apples or cherries. And then I remember the first time actually volunteering at the orchard. I think I was in the 2nd grade. I would think to continue seeing just generations of families coming back year after year, and also to really, as we advance in society, to help kids remember where their food is really coming from, and just the importance of pollinators and bugs. Even though they aren't always our favorite, they are so important to the food system. And just, just because it's an ugly apple doesn't mean it's not a good apple still.
Hi, I'm Dr. Connie Reimers-Hild. I'm the Vice President of the Kimmel Orchard and Vineyard Educational Foundation. My vision for Kimmel in the next 100 years might sound a little strange in that I'm a futurist, but I would love for Kimmel to really stay the way it is in so many different aspects. So I think continuing to add technology, like our apple sorter in the apple barn is state-of-the-art, and using that type of technology to help people understand what it takes to sort apples to make the life of many of our employees here easier is wonderful. At the same time, I think one of the strengths of Kimmel is the fact that you can come here and go out and enjoy nature while learning where your food comes from. You can unplug, enjoy time with your family, or even your business partners. We've had a lot of business retreats here in the past, to just kind of relax and find yourself a little bit in nature. And I think that's an experience that is very unique and will continue to be more unique in the future.
Kimmel Orchard and Vineyard is located north of Nebraska City. Founded in 1925 by Richard Kimmel, we have 98 acres of apple trees, cherry trees, peach trees, Asian pears, strawberries, and even some blackberries. We are a living outdoor classroom that is there for our guests to have the experience of picking their own produce and creating memories with their friends and family. In 2025, Kimmel Orchard and Vineyard will be celebrating its 100th anniversary. We invite everyone to join us in the celebration, to celebrate the last 100 years, but also to celebrate the future of Kimmel Orchard and help us to grow and sustain it for future generations to enjoy.